Hey everybody, Arizona attorney David Enevoltson here, and in this video I want to talk to you about a question I get a lot of, which is, does Arizona recognize common law marriage? Just as a backdrop, first let's explain what common law marriage is. In a very general sense, there are typically, in the states that do recognize common law marriage, there are some basic requirements that you have to meet, but the general concept is that you simply start living with someone, and after a certain amount of time you become married. It's a bit of an oversimplification, but that's the typical idea. First off, with one exception, Arizona does not recognize common law marriage. So if you just move in with somebody in Arizona, you're not going to suddenly become married. With that said, there is one scenario where Arizona will recognize a common law marriage, and that's where the parties were living in a state that did legally recognize common law marriage, enter into that marriage, and then move to Arizona. In that situation, Arizona will recognize a common law marriage. Other than that, we don't. So you don't have to worry about just getting married by living with someone. But one point of awareness is that just because you aren't going to get married per se by living with somebody else in the state of Arizona, there are still potentially legal ramifications of that act of cohabiting with somebody. In Arizona, we have case law that essentially says that if you've been cohabiting with someone, you can create, through your actions, through your conduct, through the situation that's going on, an implicit enforceable contract between those two parties. So if then you have a falling out and the two parties end up breaking up, one of them moves out, the other one can, or either party can sue the other one to try to enforce the basic terms of that contract. And the contract can be things like we were agreeing to share everything we acquired, or certain assets, or sharing in certain debts, that sort of thing. So even though we don't recognize common law marriage, there is very definitely a potential implication, legally speaking, by moving in with someone. If you're contemplating moving in with someone, or if you're contemplating moving out with someone, there are a whole lot of reasons there to at least talk to an attorney, just to get some basics there, make sure you know your essential legal rights and obligations, and potentially head off any concerns before they come to fruition.